unite in a prosperous Namibian house, in which all citizens and patriots of this great nation join hands in the spirit of Harambee and construct a social compact where no one should feel left out, and where citizens live in harmony as one Namibia, one nation. As leaders, we visualize visions of the desired end destination of the journey and communicate it to our supporting implementation teams, which are, in this case, the Prime Minister, you, the ministers, and technocrats led by him. These are the people who are responsible for the helping of implementing and providing practical expression of our dreams and guiding the nation to conceptualize, understand, own, and turn these dreams and visions of a one Namibia, one nation, and a Namibian house into a reality. Therefore, it is very important for you, my executive team, collectively and individually, to understand the rationale of my dreams and visions to become effective transmission belts, interpreters, promoters, and implementers thereof. Comrade ministers, starting with Vice President, Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, it is within the spirit of visioning the future that I have annually been declaring various themes to set a direction for the government and country. Consequently, I declared 2015 the year of planning, 2016 the year of implementation, 2017 the year of rededication, 2018 the year of reckoning, and 2019 as the year of accountability. Last year, we accounted to the Namibian people on what we have done of the mandate which they have given us in 2014. We crisscrossed this country to visit all the 14 regions and sat sometimes for 7 hours in town hall meetings to report on government programs we had promised to implement in the 2014 SWAPO Party Manifesto. But it was never a one-way conversation. The people asked questions, raised concerns, and gave their views and comments. This was truly grassroots participatory democracy in action. The ultimate test of accountability came at the end of November 2019, when Namibians went to the polls to cast their votes for their presidential and parliamentary candidates. The people spoke unequivocally and decided to renew the mandate of the ruling party, SWAPO, and myself as the president, to continue to implement this dream of a one Namibia, one nation through the programs of the 2019 SWAPO Party Election Manifesto. Therefore, to give effect to the mandate of the people and in line with the custom which I have established, provide general guidance on the agenda, tone, and direction of the work of the government, ministries, offices, and agencies, as well as to the Namibian population. I have befittingly termed the year 2020 as the year of introspection. The year of introspection. The essence of introspection and self-examination for individual and collective growth and development has been underscored by various authors, of whom I will quote some as follows. management consultant Margaret Welfy stated that, and I quote, "Without reflection, we go blindly on our way, creating more unintended consequences and failing to achieve anything useful," unquote. Philosopher Gratian wrote, "Self-reflection is the school of wisdom." And Socrates asserted that the unexamined life is not worth living. In this context, reflection through self-introspection provides clarity of our purpose and helps us check whether we are still following our initially set objectives or not, and for self-correction. After we have planned, implemented, rededicated ourselves, being reckoned with and accounted to the population, our bosses, for the work over the last 5 years, it should follow logically that we as a government and as individuals need to reflect through critical inquiries on the quality and efficacy of our work. For example, to what extent have we done what the people required us to meet their needs? Have we delivered sufficient houses, toilets, boreholes, school classrooms, hospitals, and the likes? As cabinet ministers occupying public offices, what have we contributed to realize the key objectives of government? We should reflect on how we have been governing the country for the past 5 years within the context of the realization of the shared vision of an inclusive, united, and prosperous Namibian House. We must ask ourselves whether or not we have discharged our cabinet duties to the best of our abilities, and whether or not our contributions have lifted the burdens of poverty from our people and created new opportunities for their growth. Yes, we acknowledge that the work of the last 3 years of this administration was greatly curtailed by sustained distress, economic and financial conditions, as well as the consecutive periods of national drought. But with the little resources we have done our best. Have we been creative enough? Let me ask also. What could we have done differently under the same circumstances and still deliver good results? After the process of introspection, we must come up with a program of action to address the shortcomings that are identified as the ultimate end goal of our introspection. We have all seen the outcome of the November 2019 presidential and parliamentary elections. These outcomes have obliged us to, as SWAPOs, to commence with the process of introspection following last December's Central Committee meeting, where I motivated the need for a post-mortem of the SWAPO party's performance in the November 2019 elections. The purpose of such a post-mortem is to better prepare, position, and equip the ruling party for the changing times and challenges in our society and the world at large. I'm happy to note that the first Politburo meeting of 2020 has formally endorsed these proposals. It is important to know how we understand and frame the results of the 2019 elections to arrive at an introspection which is reality-based. Contrary to claims of some analysts that the loss of SWAPO two-thirds majority in Parliament by one seat is a big failure, SWAPO indeed got a massive mandate of 66% against its nearest rival of 16%. 63 seats. How do you call it a failure? You don't rule with two-thirds. You change the constitution of two-thirds. You govern with simple majority. I understand this result as a voice of the electorate, which is saying, we still trust you and have confidence in you as our ruling party or governing party. However, we need you to prioritize and improve in the areas which will uplift us, the people who voted you to Parliament and to your seat as Prime Minister, as the President. In essence, the people said they want SWAPO MPs to dutifully attend Parliament, present issues of concern to them, and engage in quality and constructive development and prosperity-centered debates, and passing laws which will help the people to escape poverty through access to more economic opportunities and ownership of their own resources. Also for yours truly, the reduced vote tally of 56%, which by far outstripped the 29% of the nearest losing candidate, is a direct message from the electorate that yes, we give you that mandate as a person that we most trust among all presidential candidates in Namibia. But we don't want to have business as usual. Appoint ministers who are serious, focused, hardworking, and honest about uplifting the people from poverty and are sensitive to the needs of people. And tell those ministers to wake up, promote, explain, and defend government work for people to understand, for the people to understand and support it. Tell them to answer questions when the media is asking them about their operations, and not to hide away. When I ask the press why they are only showing one-sided things, which is the case with NBC, they say sometimes ministers are asked and they don't want to come. So please, people are now talking to us. Tell them to respond to the letters of the people and not ignore them. Tell them not to sit on investment projects for 5 years, which could have brought employment and prosperity for the people if implemented earlier. Finally, also tell them to come out of their offices regularly and see how their decisions are affecting the people and to change course to improve our lives. This is how I understand and interpret the 2019 elections results. It is against this background that the Cabinet too, as the highest decision-making body of the country, will have to engage in the process of introspection, and thus the intergovernment institutions and all of us, including the press, including the business houses. This introspection is for all of us. So, Honourable Ministers, in my New Year's message, I have categorically echoed the same sentiments from our people, and I quote myself because I like this speech. As government, we have listened to the cries and calls of the sovereigns. Sovereigns are the people who elect us. We have heard you, I said. You pointed out areas of improvement to us. On our unemployment that we were talking about, we heard you. On the economic situation that is dire, we heard you. On the lack of decent shelter, we heard you. On Namibia Students Financial Assistance Fund, where scores of students are left in dire straits due to poor implementation and execution of duties, we heard you. In the fishing sector, where fishermen lost their jobs as a consequence of mismanagement, we heard you. And because of that, we have already taken actions by appointing Comrade Kawana as acting Minister of Fisheries. He is busy already twice, 3 times. He has been down to the coast. During the period of anger, the short man stood there for a big crowd and addressed them, listened to them, and he calmed them down. The Comrade Kawana, thank you very much. Already we heard the people were acting. Investors and business people will be provided with yes or no answer. People are misunderstanding this concept. I'm not saying give everybody yes, yes, or no, no. I'm saying don't sit on things frustrating in potential investors. Bad thing is not to know what the answer is for anybody, but worse so for an investor. They want to go where their money can be welcomed, where they are welcomed. Why letting them wait and at the end, because we are pressured, we say no or yes? Time has been lost. And in their language, time is money, they say. So we have to provide answers in shortest possible time to business people and to welcome them. I am told lately we are unfriendly to potential investors. We are unfriendly. Somebody told me, one embassy told me, that they went to a ministry and they were told, we don't know your country, we don't like your country in this country. Big power was told that for one minister. I'm going to deal with him. I made it clear during the final cabinet meeting of 2019 that we can no longer conduct business as usual. Can I repeat it? Now, we can no longer conduct business as usual. Yes, in this regard, what are the first actions? The size of the cabinet shall be reduced, not because anybody told us. Go and read my State of the Nation address 3-4 years ago. And we also explain why this cabinet is bloated. It's because of apartheid. Blacks were left out. We had to bring them on board. The Constitution says don't fire those who are there. So we couldn't remove those who were there alone, the white people. So on top we had to add those who were left out. Hence the size. But instead of having a sunset clause, we kept on continuing. That's why now the time has come, not because anybody is telling me, that the cabinet, the size of the cabinet shall be reduced. And I'm very busy trying to configure already, trying to see how I can combine some ministries. I also get unsolicited proposals from outside. And some give me the proposals and say I can do better. Applying for ministerial posts. Things have changed really. How does somebody apply and say, I can do it, and put this one as deputy? They don't even forget I have to choose from the parliament. This is a great nation, land of the brave. We also are going to try 50-50. But 50-50, let me make it very clear, it's a SWAPO party decision and resolution. It doesn't necessarily apply to the government. So if I were to fail, don't go and say I broke the law. It's the president of SWAPO, therefore must carry out what SWAPO is saying. It is in that context that I'm saying we'll try to apply 50-50. Representation. Persistent lack of implementation of government policies and programs cannot continue any longer. Unquote. I added new things, but this is the quotation. Finally, I have reiterated that we will intensify the fight against poverty, specifically the fight against corruption and gender-based violence, emanating from frustration, aggression. The psychologists are saying the concept of frustration, aggression. Our men are left behind. Our boys are left behind. The women are moving on, marching on. They get better jobs because they go to schools. When you go to graduation, you will see about 80% girls. And the men are being left behind. The boy child is being left behind. Where does he go? To the bars, to smoke also, other things. And when the women are clean, they are getting promoted, they get jealous, angry, frustrated, killed, beat up. Shame on us, these men. Definitely. This is a thing we have to all address. Churches, business people, for some kind of intimidation. Women are also in offices where they are being cajoled with the promotions and so on. So all of us have to introspect, not only in the government, how we do things in offices. Corruption shall never be tolerated by this administration, but the due process of law will take its course on any wrongdoing, as we have witnessed last year. You are all aware of the so-called fish rot case, and that, as we speak, two implicated former ministers have been arrested and are in jail awaiting their trial dates, when they will have the opportunity to state their case and be declared guilty or not guilty by competent authorities. Let us be mindful that in Namibia, every accused person is innocent until proven guilty by the court of law. While we recognize the need for improvements in the areas outlined by the nation, we also take cognizance of so-called analysts and academics who ever exaggerate by cashing in on light of our people. I have never seen NPC so efficient. Every evening you will see a dark corner. People who are suffering. Ugly situation. Every evening. Very efficient. But the other day I saw a program and it says sponsored by something Stiftung. I got surprised. Because I was wondering, why is NPC so efficient? Everywhere they are there covering. It's good to do that. It's good to do that. But if you are doing it to embarrass us, we are from there, we know it. We know it. But we are telling the world how bad your country is. You go to New York, they will never take you to Harlem. They'll show Harlem first in their TV. They are patriotic. But we want to paint Namibia as a failed state. We, the Namibians, we are eager to paint the picture things are not working. To tell you the truth, was Namibia of 50 years ago, 40 years ago, better than Namibia of today? Yes, we will be answering me as young people, I was not there, so don't ask me about 50 years ago. What is your history? What is your upbringing? If you are not taught how things work, that's where we are going wrong maybe. That we are not taught where we come from, and where we are, and where we are going to. You cannot tell me that things were better even 30 years ago than today. Don't fool yourself. We know it is a different country. Yes, we want it to be better. That's why I recall my Black Power days in America, when we were angry against white people. Angry blacks. One professor asked people, 30 years ago, were the blacks worse off or better off? He said, so what? Why were they quiet? Professor answered, they were quiet because they were hopeless. You sit and suffer peacefully when you are hopeless. But when you have hope, you make noise. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. You want to rush and be there and be successful. That's why the greed has set in this country. People want to grab everything to reach there because there is hope. Conditions have improved. Doors were open for black people. We didn't have to reach there through stealing. But that is what is happening. People are angry because they see others are rich. They don't want to be left out. That's why we are having this anger by young people. And self-hate. I read something where people are saying, you must go around and take photos of all those who are driving good cars, living in good houses, and drinking something. A black person is not talking about black people. It's a self-hate, you call it. They don't say about white people. White people's houses, cars, that's given. That's their right, apparently. And white thing, it's their entitlement. Don't talk about we are rich because we work hard. And the blacks are now joining. Self-hate. Can people buy cars? Live in good houses? What are we fighting for? If people have stolen the money to buy the car or house, then you can arrest them. There can be no clean people buying houses and cars who are black. All blacks are rich by definition. I mean, are corrupt by definition. So if they are therefore having a car, they must be watched. They have a house, they must. What is this? It's self-hate. The blacks were talking. We know the names of these people. It was announced. Take photos of cars they are driving, houses they are living in. Then look at white people. You know, white people's houses here. Some people go to Karitura to set up offices. We have a problem here. I didn't fight to liberate Karitura. We fought to liberate the whole country. Every inch of Namibia. So these things of trying to show off, my dear, we have to address the issues that we have to address. Inequality, white privilege, and blacks' inferiority complex. These are the things we have to all introspect. Honestly, it's not only one-sided. We all know that the structural inequality originated as a deliberate policy of apartheid and colonialism to exclude a majority of Namibians from economic mainstream. And that is the source of the continuation of poverty and economic exclusion in our society. We also know that the SWAPO government has introduced policies and programs to redress this situation. So how do we turn around and blame SWAPO government for an over 100 years old problem, which is, as we know, we are all busy solving by holding hands if we can. Yes, I'm therefore happy that Namibians, as free people who are freed by those who fought, sacrificed, are talking. It is talking, writing their SMS, insulting, using their freedom to insult, but they are not taking up arms yet. Yet, I'm saying. That's how it starts. If you take the conditions of people who are suffering and use that, instigate them, they have nothing to lose. They will drain and destroy roots of those who have it. Whether they got it legitimately or not, when the same boat, when this house burns, we're all going to burn and die. So instigating people, it looks small. That's how civil wars start everywhere. People are angry. Young people are angry. They don't have jobs. But if you go and ignite that anger, direct it towards destruction, property and so on, civil wars start that way. And those who are happy in instigating them may be the ones who suffer the most, because they have their things. They may suffer the most. So let's be careful. Yes, we have democratic elections. Rightly, we had a very contested election. The world is happy about it. Of course, you cannot talk about it now because it's in the courts. But the fact that we have peaceful elections, not only one, about 6 of them, is the way to go. You don't like this guy, Hage, vote him out. You shoot a person when there is no alternative. We don't have a right to vote that person out. In democracy, you vote people out. But people get mandates from the sovereigns. And I got the mandate. You were trying to take me out. I got the mandate, so you must accept the defeat. Because you tried, you lost. Now if you lose and try to insist in complaining, instead of accepting the defeat, then we will move on. So I'm warning, civil wars start that way. Signs I see. Don't say I didn't warn you. It goes to, I did this, I did this, I did this. When I fail, I'm defeated, I go to we, the Damaras, we, the so-and-so. That's how it is done. And you instigate your tribe, your region, so that they can feel they are all left out. Because you are feeling aggrieved. You are a failed politician. And you instigate the people. Say, we are left out. So, honorable ministers, I witnessed a change phenomenon which I already told you, where people are kind enough to submit their CVs. And what's wrong with that? Maybe saying they can be better ministers than you. I get applications. That's a good sign, apparently, that people are free to do anything they want to do. But just to give fatherly advice, cabinet comes from the parliament. So in the future, you must stand to be elected, so that way we can maybe, or you can form the government and therefore change the situation and change the people you don't want. But democracy must be accepted. Democratic outcomes must be accepted to maintain peace. We campaigned like hell, some of us. Election results are out. Processes, systems, institutions, I say, they are now of the institution. They are the court. We wait. The court rule whatever way, we go on. But we must accept the ruling of the court. We must accept the election outcomes when they're defeated. That's the only way we can build this country. So those, come back to the speech, those fortunate to serve in the next cabinet will find that the level of performance and compliance has been raised higher. Expectations are high. They say, I only fire people who disagree. We're going to be fired for failure. Expectations are high. They were raising the level of performance very high. We expect ministers to perform. The ministers to defend their policies, their ministries, ministers shying away, appearing on TV. Let me just say thank you to Deputy Minister of Health, Education. She's not here. She's too busy maybe. She has been appearing on TV when people are complaining about the curriculum to explain. And through that experience, I even learned a lot. You have to explain to people. They have a right to complain. Some don't listen to calling programs. I listen to them. That's why sometimes one day I called even. Ministers could listen and call in to correct a situation. You don't listen. Then what's news? Sometimes I pretend just to call, do you see what is happening? You know what? How are we going to solve the problem to listen to people's cries daily? Yes, also, we're punished not because of me only. Elected leaders, regional councillors, municipalities, bread and butter issues. You don't deliver, will be punished. All of us. And we are not paying attention to what the newspapers are saying. Yes, not all of them are doing good things, but they raise issues, and therefore you can correct it. We don't read the newspapers. We don't watch the TVs. Maybe sports only, as I do sometimes. But I use all of them. I watch all of them. I watch sports. I like it. But I watch everything. So some ministers, I check them. They don't watch the news. They don't read the papers. Now how can we correct these situations? So whoever is going to survive, please let's say I'm a different person. I'm not the same Hage. I'm different. I heard the call of the people, complaints of the people. I'll try my best now. That's what I want to hear from you. And this goes who have responsibilities of also declaring, as we do, of course, our assets. Transparency, accountability, equal trust, I keep on saying. So if we can declare our assets, we must also improve on the asset declaration. People just say, no, I have nothing, no, that doesn't help. So if we can improve on it and declare, yes, we do declare to the parliament and to the president, the ministers. Kale is the one who joined me and declared his assets in public too. These are the things that will help us to correct the image that has been destroyed by the fish stock. Yes. But I was invited by Kagame, President Kagame from Nairobi, grabbed and taken to Kigali to a conference which was dealing with honoring those who are fighting against corruption. As the only president was the UN people in charge and Emir of Qatar. And there, after I explained and joke about Qatar, because Al Jazeera comes from there. And I said, only thing I decided, you took time to air it during the election campaign, during the elections. But what they said, and what also other ambassadors say here, you think Namibia's image is gone because of that. But they say it's because you are addressing it. That's why people are talking about it. They said, one ambassador told me, my country there is corruption, a big power from West. In my country there is corruption. But what do you do with corruption? Do you address it? That's what is important. And Namibia is addressing it. That's why the noise. That's what people are talking about. They talk as if corruption started yesterday. Now we are talking about corruption open and acting. That's why people are talking. But those who are experts are saying, go to Namibia and see how it is done. But we thought those who are negative, yeah, Namibia is not a bad situation. We got one step up, or how many steps? We went up. We are number 10 in the top 10 countries dealing with corruption, against corruption, fighting against corruption. People are disappointed. They wanted us to go down now because of FISRO. And one said, oh, it's because FISRO is not added yet. It is added. Why are we so pessimistic about our own countries, actually? It is added, but we're in the top 10 fighting against corruption. We started a long time ago. But we are dealing with it, that people are angry. People are angry, and they talk about it. It is because it is addressed. Now coming to today. Cabinet is a team, and you are either a cabinet team player or not part of it. Ministers, you are still ministers. I appeal that we hold hands, work hard, discuss here, disagree. Once we agree, go ahead. Don't go and talk the outside. That is not denying people democratic right, press. It's a cabinet handbook everywhere in the world that you are allowed to disagree in this chamber. But once majority decision has been taken, they say you must go and defend it. Or what do? Or you resign. And I'm not talking empty, I did it myself. I left the government. I was in the street. People think you must die in the government. People are now getting worried the cabinet will be changed. I'll be left out. Prepare for retirement. Are you going to die in the offices? As cabinet ministers? We must be proud and say, oh, thanks God, I'm going to rest now. Of course, they are saying, how about you? I was elected. And I said it's a fixed term, starting 21st of March 2020, ending on 20th of March 2025. Then I will happily go. You fail to remove me. So accept that. Don't refer to me anymore from today on. I'm elected, old or young or not. But I will go happily. So you must also do that. Nobody must die, hold on to die in the office. No. So please, I'm preparing you. Not all of us are going to come back. I'm elected, I'll come back. Otherwise, I will not come back too. And our people in the street, the young people, I was watching Davos. There were young people, youth, presenting innovative ideas on employment creation. I didn't see any Namibian. And Namibian youth, everywhere you go, kids are competing for innovation. Namibians, don't we know about these competitions? Young people who talk too much. You are the savvy, ID savvy. Why don't you participate? Why don't we get exposed ourselves? Or government must do it for you, of course, government, okay. Everything's government. In conclusion, I'm proud of the accomplishments we have achieved in the midst of a depressed economic environment and consecutive drought sessions. I know that everybody is looking forward to the new beginning. New cabinet. Even if you are old, reappointed, you become new. So as cabinet members, whether you are going to come or not, let us stand firm, stand strong, stand proud, and defend our government against those who seek to weaken us. We have prevailed through various internal crises, and we will prevail again. Long live the Republic of Namibia, and I thank you. Now we'll ask the foreigners to leave us so we can start the cabinet proper.